Those who are watching this, please subscribe. I need your support. A wealthy man pretends to be blind after an accident, only to uncover his fiancée's shocking betrayal and deadly plan against him. In one single moment, his world went dark. The night had been calm, almost peaceful. Streetlights glowed softly as his car moved through the quiet road. He leaned back slightly, exhausted but content. Life was finally falling into place: success, stability, and a future with the woman he loved. Then suddenly, a blinding light rushed toward him. A loud crash shattered the silence. Metal twisted. Glass exploded. Everything spun out of control. And then, nothing. When he slowly opened his eyes, he expected to see a ceiling, lights, something, anything. But there was only darkness. Complete, endless darkness. His heart began to race. I can't see," he whispered, his voice trembling. The sound of machines filled the room, steady beeps, distant footsteps. He could feel a bandage wrapped tightly around his head. His body ached, but the fear inside him hurt more. "Mr. Adio, please stay calm," a doctor's voice said gently. "You were in a serious accident." A pause. "We believe your optic nerves have been affected." The words hit him harder than the crash itself. "Affected? What does that mean?" he asked, his voice breaking. Another pause. This one heavier. "It means, there is a high chance the blindness could be permanent." Permanent. The word echoed inside him like a storm. His breath caught in his chest. His entire life, his work, his independence, his dreams, everything suddenly felt like it was slipping away. Blind. Forever? Beside him, a soft cry broke the silence. "Oh my God, this can't be happening." It was her. His fiancée rushed closer, her hand gently resting on his arm. Her voice sounded emotional, almost fragile. Anyone watching would believe she was heartbroken. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." He tried to hold on to her words, to find comfort in them. But something didn't feel right. Her touch was there, but it lacked warmth. Her voice sounded caring, but something beneath it felt empty. Was it just his fear, or was something else hidden behind her concern? "Why does it feel like I lost more than just my sight?" He lay there silently, trying to steady his breathing. The darkness around him felt suffocating, but even worse was the strange feeling growing inside his chest. The doctor spoke a few more words, explaining treatments, possibilities, hope. But none of it truly reached him. Because deep down, something had already changed. Not just in his eyes, but in his trust. Sometimes, life doesn't break you with what you lose, but with what it reveals. Moral: the real pain begins when you realize not everyone who stays by your side truly stands with you. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Soft hospital light filtered through the curtains, but for him, it was still darkness, or at least, that's what everyone believed. He lay still on the bed, his eyes gently closed, breathing slow and steady. To anyone watching, he was a man learning to live without sight. But in reality, he could see. His vision had returned that very morning. A miracle, the doctor had called it. But instead of celebrating, he had made a strange decision. He chose to stay silent. He chose to pretend. Because something inside him wasn't at peace. And now, as he listened carefully, he began to understand why. The doctor stood near the foot of the bed, his voice calm but serious. "I'm afraid the diagnosis is permanent blindness." The words echoed through the room. He didn't react. He didn't move. But through barely opened eyelids, he saw everything. His fiancée stood beside him, dressed perfectly, her posture soft, her face tilted with concern. Anyone looking at her would see love, devotion, heartbreak. But then, it happened. For just a second. A smile. Not a sad smile. Not one of comfort. It was quick, almost hidden, but it was there. A flicker of satisfaction. And in that moment, something inside him shattered. Did she just smile? His heart skipped a beat. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe his mind was playing tricks on him after everything he had been through. But then, she spoke. "Oh no, this is so terrible," she said softly, placing her hand on his arm. Her voice sounded right. Her words sounded right. But her face. Her face didn't match. Was this the woman he thought he knew? He stayed still, forcing himself to remain calm. His body didn't react, but his mind was racing. After the doctor left, silence filled the room again. Then her phone buzzed. "Oh, I need to take this," she said gently. "I'll be right outside." Her footsteps moved away. The door clicked shut. Slowly, carefully, he opened his eyes. Through the small glass window, he could see her standing in the hallway. Her back was turned, phone pressed to her ear. And then, she laughed. Not a quiet chuckle. A real, carefree laugh. Her body language had completely changed. Her shoulders relaxed, her face bright, her movements animated. There was no sadness. No worry. No pain. Just happiness. His chest tightened as he watched her. How could someone switch so quickly? How could someone act so perfectly, and yet feel nothing? He quickly closed his eyes as she turned back toward the room. Moments later, she stepped inside again. Her voice returned to that soft, caring tone. "That was my mom," she said. "She's so worried about you." He didn't respond immediately. Because now, he was no longer confused. He was certain. The woman he loved was hiding something. And whatever it wasn't small. Sometimes, the truth doesn't come from what people say, but from what they forget to hide. Moral: a single moment of truth can expose a lifetime of lies. The morning light slipped quietly into the hospital room. For the first time in days, he could see it. Faint at first. Blurry. But real. Shapes slowly formed, the curtain by the window, the outline of the chair, the soft glow of sunlight touching the floor. His heart began to race, not with fear this time, but with disbelief. He blinked again. And again. The darkness was gone. I can see," he whispered, his voice barely audible. A few minutes later, the doctor stood in front of him, eyes filled with surprise and relief. "This is remarkable," he said. "Your optic nerves have recovered faster than we expected. It's rare, but it happens." It should have been a moment of joy. A miracle. A second chance at life. But instead of smiling, he felt something else. A deep, unsettling doubt. His mind replayed that moment from yesterday. That smile. That laugh. That feeling that something wasn't right. "Don't tell anyone," he said suddenly. The doctor paused, confused. "What do you mean?" "I need time," he replied quietly. "Just tell them I'm still blind." The doctor hesitated, but seeing the seriousness in his eyes, he slowly nodded. And just like that, the truth was hidden. "If I tell her now, I may never know who she really is." Later that evening, the door opened again. Footsteps he knew well. "Brother." "I came as soon as I heard." It was his closest friend, the one person he trusted without question. "Close the door," he said softly. The tone in his voice was enough to make his friend pause. Something wasn't right. The door clicked shut. Silence filled the room. Then slowly, he opened his eyes. His friend froze. You can see?" "I can," he said calmly. "Since this morning." Shock filled his friend's face. "Then why are you?" "Because something is wrong," he interrupted. He took a deep breath and explained everything. The smile, the phone call, the laugh in the hallway. Every detail. Every feeling. His friend listened carefully, his expression changing from confusion to anger. "I knew it," he muttered. "Something about her never felt right." He looked at him seriously. "What are you going to do?" He turned his gaze toward the window, his mind already moving ahead. "If I tell her now, she'll deny everything," he said. "She'll hide it better." A pause. "But if I stay blind, she'll show me everything." His friend stepped closer. "You're going to pretend? For how long?" "As long as it takes," he replied. There was no hesitation in his voice. No fear. Only determination. "Then I'm with you," his friend said firmly. "Whatever you need." A small silence followed. Because they both understood, this was no longer just about love. It was about truth. And possibly, survival. Can a lie reveal a deeper truth? He lay back on the bed, closing his eyes again, not because he couldn't see, but because now, he had chosen not to. The game had begun. And this time, he was watching everything. The house was silent, but not peaceful. It had only been a few days since he returned home, yet everything felt different. The same walls, the same furniture, the same life, but now, every corner held a question. And every moment felt like a test. He sat in his study, dark glasses covering his eyes, a document resting in his hands, braille pages he didn't need. Because he could see everything. Footsteps approached. Soft. Careful. She entered the room quietly, thinking he was asleep. He didn't move. He didn't breathe any differently. Through the slight gap beneath his glasses, he watched. She walked straight to his desk. Not slowly. Not uncertainly. But directly, confidently. Her fingers moved to the drawer, the one he had forgotten to lock that morning. She opened it. And then, began. One by one, she pulled out documents. Property papers. Investment records. Financial statements. His life's work, laid out in her hands. His chest tightened as he watched her take out her phone. Click. Another document. Click. Another. She was photographing everything. Every detail. Every asset. Every secret he had trusted her never to misuse. So this is what you were after, all along. He clenched his jaw, fighting the urge to stand up, to stop her, to demand answers. But he didn't. He couldn't. Not yet. Because this was the truth he had chosen to see. Minutes passed. 17 long minutes. 17 minutes of quiet betrayal. When she was done, she placed everything back exactly as it was, careful, precise, practiced. Then she walked out, like nothing had happened. Moments later, she returned. Her voice light. Warm. "Baby, you're awake," she said softly. He slowly lifted his head, pretending confusion. "I was just making you lunch," she added with a gentle smile. Lunch. As if she hadn't just stolen pieces of his life. As if she hadn't just proven everything he feared. "I'm hungry," he said quietly. But it wasn't food he needed. It was answers. That night, his friend came over. Dinner was calm on the surface, polite conversation, soft laughter, everything looking normal. But beneath it, something darker was growing. After she left the room, his friend leaned closer, voice low. "I found something," he said. His heart tightened. "She's not alone," his friend continued. "There's a man. A business rival of yours." Silence. Heavy. Sharp. "They've been meeting for months." The words hit harder than expected. Months. That meant, even before the accident. Even before the engagement. Everything had been planned. Was any of it real? The laughter? The promises? The love? Or was it all just a performance? His hands slowly clenched. Not from anger anymore, but from something deeper. Disappointment. Because betrayal doesn't just break trust. It breaks the memories too. "She's been asking about your assets," his friend added. "Your companies, your accounts, everything." He closed his eyes for a moment. Not because he couldn't see, but because now, he saw too clearly. The woman he loved never existed. Only the mask did. And now, it was finally slipping. Moral: the most dangerous lies are hidden behind the faces we trust the most. The house no longer felt like home. It felt like a stage, where every smile was rehearsed, every word carefully chosen, and every moment hiding something darker beneath. And now, a new player had entered. That afternoon, she stood near the door, her voice unusually bright. "Baby, I found someone who can help you," she said gently. "A professional caretaker. He's experienced, trustworthy." Trustworthy. The word echoed in his mind with quiet irony. He sat still, dark glasses hiding his eyes, his expression calm. "When will he start?" he asked. "He's actually here," she replied quickly. The door opened. Footsteps entered, confident, steady, unfamiliar. "Good afternoon," the man said, his voice smooth, almost too smooth. There was something about it. Not kindness. Not care. But control. "This is him," she said softly. "He's here to make things easier for you." Easier. Yes, for them. He stood slowly, pretending uncertainty, extending his hand in the wrong direction. The man stepped forward and grabbed it firmly, too firmly. A silent challenge. So this is the man behind everything. They sat together for a while, talking. Or rather, pretending. The man asked questions about his routine, his limitations, his needs. But the questions didn't feel like concern. They felt like investigation. Every answer he gave was measured. Careful. Because now, he wasn't just observing. He was inside their plan. And later that night, the truth revealed itself completely. He sat alone in his study, the house quiet around him. The air vents carried sound from upstairs, a small detail he had recently discovered. Voices. Her voice. And his. Soft at first, then clearer. "You actually came to the house," she whispered, her tone filled with excitement. "Why not?" the man replied. "He's blind. He has no idea what's happening." A pause. Then laughter. Cold. Light. Careless. His fingers tightened around the arm of the chair. "Everything is going perfectly," she continued. "The documents, the control, it's all coming together." "And the money?" the man asked. "Soon," she replied. "Very soon." There was a brief silence. Then the words that changed everything. "What about him?" the man asked. A pause. Short. But heavy. "We'll handle it," she said quietly. "How?" Another pause. Longer this time. Then. "A medical mistake," she whispered. "Something simple. Something no one will question." His breath stopped. "A medical mistake? You're serious?" the man asked. "He's blind," she replied calmly. "Confused. Dependent. These things happen." Silence filled the space after that. But it wasn't empty. It was heavy. Dangerous. Because now, it wasn't just about betrayal. It was about survival. Could someone you once loved really plan your death so calmly? "She's not just lying to me, she's planning to erase me." His heart pounded, but his face remained still. Because this game had just become deadly. And one wrong move could cost him everything. He slowly reached for his phone, his fingers steady despite the storm inside him. One message. Sent. "They're planning to kill me." The reply came instantly. "I know. We're ready." He leaned back in his chair, staring into the darkness, this time not pretending. Because now, the truth was clearer than ever. And it was more. The days leading up to the wedding felt unreal. Everything looked perfect on the surface, flowers being selected, guest lists prepared, soft music playing in the background of a life that seemed ready for celebration. But beneath that beauty, a trap was being built. And he was the one setting it. He sat quietly in the living room, dark glasses still hiding his secret, while she moved around him with excitement. "I don't want to wait anymore," she said one morning, her voice filled with sweetness. "I want to be your wife, officially." Officially. The word lingered in the air. He lowered his head slightly, playing his role perfectly. "Are you sure?" "My condition. It changes things." She stepped closer, placing her hand over his. "It changes nothing," she said softly. "I love you." Love. A word that once meant everything, now felt empty. Was this love, or just a perfectly practiced lie? "Say yes, and let her believe she's winning." He nodded slowly. "All right," he said. "Let's do it." A small smile appeared on her lips. Not the kind filled with emotion, but the kind filled with certainty. She thought she had already won. But she had no idea. The real game was just beginning. Behind the scenes, everything was different. Late at night, when the house was quiet, he sat with his closest friend, going over every detail. Documents were prepared. Evidence collected. Hidden cameras installed. Every conversation, every movement, every betrayal, recorded. "This is dangerous," his friend warned. "If she suspects anything." "She won't," he replied calmly. "She believes I'm helpless." A pause. "And that's her biggest mistake." His friend looked at him seriously. "Are you sure you can go through with this? Standing there, marrying someone who planned to destroy you?" He didn't answer immediately. Because the truth was, it hurt. more than he expected. But his voice remained steady. "I'm not doing this for love anymore," he said. "I'm doing it for truth." The guest list was small. Too small. Most of the names belonged to her side: friends, distant relatives, people he barely knew. His own family? Barely invited. Carefully excluded. She called it keeping things simple. But he saw the real reason. Isolation. Control. She wanted no interference. No one who might question her. No one who truly knew him. And that's exactly why he made his own plans. Quietly. Carefully. Without her knowing. Because when the moment came, she wouldn't be in control anymore. The night before the wedding, she stood beside him, adjusting his suit. Her touch was gentle. Her smile soft. "I can't wait for tomorrow," she whispered. "Everything will finally fall into place." He turned slightly toward her. "Yes," he said quietly. "It will." But they meant two completely different things. She leaned closer, her voice almost a whisper. "Tomorrow, you become mine." His lips curved into a faint smile. A controlled one. A hidden one. "Tomorrow, the truth becomes yours." He lay in bed that night, eyes open in the darkness. Not blind. Not broken. But waiting. Waiting for the moment when everything would be revealed. Because sometimes, justice doesn't come quietly. Sometimes, it needs a stage. And tomorrow, the entire world would be watching. Moral: the most powerful revenge is not anger, it is exposing the truth at the perfect moment. The church doors opened, and everything changed. Soft music filled the air as guests turned their heads. She appeared at the entrance, dressed in white, glowing, flawless, like every dream a man could ever have. Step by step, she walked down the aisle. Confident. Beautiful. Victorious. He stood at the altar, still composed, his dark glasses hiding everything. But behind them, his eyes were open. Watching. Waiting. Was she walking toward a wedding, or her own downfall? "This ends today." She finally reached him, her hand gently taking his. Her touch was warm, almost convincing. The priest began the ceremony. Words of love. Promises of forever. Vows of trust. Each sentence felt heavier than the last. Because he knew, none of it was real. "Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" the priest asked. Silence filled the room for a brief moment. His fingers slowly moved to his face. And then, he removed his glasses. A soft gasp echoed through the church. Her smile froze. Her eyes widened. "Why your eyes," she stammered. He looked directly at her. Calm. Clear. Unshaken. "I can see," he said. The words fell like thunder. "I've been able to see, for a long time." The room erupted into whispers. Confusion. Shock. Fear. She stepped back slightly, her face losing color. "What are you saying?" she asked, her voice trembling. "This isn't funny." "No," he replied quietly. "It's not." He turned slightly, signaling his friend. Within seconds, a screen lit up behind them. And then, the truth began to play. Video clips. Clear. Undeniable. Her going through his documents. Her secret meetings. Her laughter. Her voice. Cold. Calculated. "We'll handle it, a medical mistake, no one will question it." The room fell into complete silence. Every word, every lie, exposed. She shook her head desperately. "No, this isn't real, this is fake." But it wasn't. And everyone knew it. He stepped closer, his voice firm now. "I saw everything," he said. The smile, the lies, the plan. Tears filled her eyes, but they weren't of regret. They were of being caught. "You were going to destroy me," he continued. "Steal everything, and then erase me." The church doors suddenly opened again. This time, it wasn't guests. It was the police. They walked in calmly, their presence silent but powerful. "Amara," one officer said, stepping forward. "You're under arrest." Her body froze. No, this can't be happening," she whispered. But it was. Her perfect plan had collapsed. Right in front of everyone. As they placed handcuffs on her wrists, she turned to him one last time. Her eyes filled with anger. "You think you've won?" she hissed. He looked at her, not with hate, but with clarity. "I didn't win," he said softly. "I just finally saw the truth." She was led away. Her partner, already caught. Her lies, completely shattered. The church stood silent, the air heavy with everything that had just happened. He remained at the altar, still in his wedding suit, but no longer the same man. Because sometimes, losing everything is the only way to see clearly. And as he walked out of that place, he wasn't broken. He was free.